Are you tired of constantly stressing over grocery bills while trying to feed your family? You're not alone. And many parents struggle to stretch their budgets without sacrificing nutrition and flavor and whether your kids will actually eat it. This week, we're going to do a full week of meals. We're talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a family of four, which is two adults and two kids. And we're going to do it for under $100. And you'll notice we're not going to have rice and beans or ramen noodles. Not saying there's anything against that, but I always see when people say that they're trying to save money on their groceries, oh, that means we're eating rice and beans this week. No, we're not. We're eating some yummy stuff. Now, I've changed up the format a little bit, so definitely let me know down in the comments if these are easier to read and that you like them better. Here is our shopping list this week. You'll notice it's longer than a $60 a week meal plan. That's just because we are doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our total came out to $99.96, which was so close to our $100 budget. Our prices this week came from the Walmart Supercenter in Segno, Texas, and I'm sure I mispronounced that because I mispronounced them all. And before I forget, if you go down in the description, there's two links. One is going to be to my grocery shopping list on walmart.com. If you go there, click on where it says the zip code, change it to your local area, and then you'll be able to see what this meal plan costs for you. But make sure that you go through this because you may already have some of these items at home. Simple things like pancake mix or taco seasoning, you might already have. So you don't want to purchase those again and you can get your total less. Now, the other link is going to be to my website. You can go there and you can see all of the slides and you can print your own free PDF of this. It includes the shopping list and all the recipes. So let's get into this. If you're a very visual person like I am, this image kind of helps show you all of the different items that we're getting. And this way, if you have any questions about what type of thing, you can refer to this. Now, I had a couple comments about that they were having to change around the different days of the meal plan and that it was a little confusing for them. So that's okay. We're going to try something new. So we've got one whole slide that is all about breakfast. We're going to do 3 different breakfasts this week, and essentially we do them twice. Okay. Now, some of them, like this first one, which is a breakfast tater tot casserole, and it's going to use some sausage, some eggs, some milk, and some cheese. Now, this is a great base. You can throw in anything you like. If you want to throw in some more veggies or switch it up instead of doing cheddar cheese, you could do like a pepper jack or a Swiss, whatever you got, really. So, great base recipe. Now, this one, we're going to just make one big casserole because it is going to make about 8 to 10 servings. So, we can actually make this ahead, refrigerate it, and then cook it in the morning. Or on like a Sunday afternoon, you could go ahead and cook this all off. And then on Monday and Tuesday, all you have to do is reheat it. And we just reheat it in the microwave. But like I get up way earlier than my kids, I could easily go ahead, turn on the oven, put these in. And by the time my kids are ready and up to eat breakfast, it would be ready to go. Now, the second one is carrot cake pancakes. And this could not be any easier. Plus, another great base recipe. Say you don't like carrots, totally fine. You could switch this out. Instead of shredded carrots, you could do shredded apple, shredded zucchini. There's so many options here. Then the last one, most people call it blat, which is bacon, lettuce, avocado, and tomato. And we're going to do it instead of a sandwich, do it as toast form. Think of this as like avocado toast next level. And this is another one. Say you're not a big fan of avocados, totally fine. You could switch that out to something else. But I will note that at Walmart right now, they have a bag of avocados, usually has anywhere from 4 to 6 avocados in it. And it was so much cheaper to go with that option than it was to just buy 2 or 3. I personally love avocados, so I would be perfectly happy to have it multiple mornings. For lunches this week, we're going to do the same thing. I've got all 3 lunches here and you can make it work for whatever day works best for you. The first one is kind of a twist on pigs in a blanket, but instead we're going to do chili pigs in a blanket. And yep, we're going to use some biscuit dough. We're going to put down our hot dog. We're going to use some canned chili, but you could easily use homemade or stuff that you've pre-made and put in the freezer. Put a little chili on the hot dog inside the bun. top it with some cheese, and then we're going to just pull that biscuit around it. And it's just a fun thing. Now, the second lunch is going to be Southwest chicken taquitos. Basically, this is going to be flour tortillas. We're going to make just a really creamy chicken filling using canned chicken. But once again, if you have already cooked chicken, maybe you have some chicken in your freezer that's already cooked, easily use just regular cooked chicken. And then we're going to throw in some black beans to give this kind of a Southwest flair. And we'll have salsa and taco seasoning. And we're going to make about 8 to 10 flour tortillas, but that's really going to depend on what kind of tortillas you buy. I personally like the small tortillas. You may like the larger ones. For the last lunch, we're going to do loaded tachos. Yes, that is nachos using tater tots, which my kids just love that. And we're going to basically cook off our tater tots. We're going to top it with some refried beans, shredded cheddar cheese, salsa. We'll have some lettuce, tomato, and avocado. And it is just so yummy. And it's actually really filling between the beans and the tater tots. Now, this is one of those where if you had some leftover taco meat, you could throw it on there. Really, there's so much you could do here. So we're all about the base recipes, and then you just use what you have. Now we're going to get into the 6 dinners, and I've broken them up to where it's 2 per slide. So the first 2 dinners, one, we're going to do a cheesy broccoli chicken orzo. This is pretty close to a one pot, but we are going to boil the orzo in a separate pot and then add it back to like a skillet where we make everything else. Now this one does call for broccoli, but like I said, if you don't like broccoli, you can easily switch that out to any other vegetable you like. The key ingredient to this one is a condensed broccoli and cheese soup. Now, I know that sometimes you can't always find this, but I do regularly find it at Walmart. This looks just similar to like the condensed tomato soup style can, but it's broccoli and cheddar cheese soup. Now, you could also kind of make your own version, but this was just the super quick option. The second dinner is going to be saucy burritos with Mexican rice. Now, I tend to call them enchiladas because we're using enchilada sauce, but I was informed that these are actually burritos. So enchilada burrito, you pick whatever you want to call it. We're going to do this simple. We're going to mix together some enchilada sauce with some green chilies. And I know right there, if you're like, I don't like green sauce, totally fine. Switch it over, do red sauce instead of green chilies. You could do like chopped tomatoes. There's so many options here. And then we're going to go ahead and cook off some ground turkey, do some seasoning in there, and then we're going to combine it, roll it, and bake it. Super simple. Now, for the Mexican rice, we've done this one multiple times. This is also a great leftover buster for veggies. So if you have leftover veggies, whatever it is, just chop it up, throw it in your Mexican rice, make it look a little bit more authentic. If you've ever been to a Mexican restaurant and ordered Mexican rice, it usually has like peas and corn and carrots in there. Totally fine. You can do that at home. Our next set of dinners, we're going to have Alfredo lasagna rolls with side salad. I'm a huge fan of lasagna, but honestly, I don't really like making it just because it takes a while to get all the steps done and then it takes a while to bake. And this really just cuts down the time so quickly. Now, we are going to use Alfredo sauce and we're going to use either ricotta or cottage cheese. I'll let you pick that one. They're about the same cost right now. And then we are going to use 2 cups of cooked chicken. Now, I didn't specify how to cook that chicken, but personally, I'm going to just bake it off in the oven while I'm baking another chicken dish, or I'm going to use some chicken that's already cooked from my freezer. Totally up to you. You could also just chop fresh chicken, saute it in a pan, use 2 forks and shred it, and boom, you've got cooked chicken. The second dinner is going to be sausage stuffed zucchini boats. I'm a huge fan of these, and I've noticed that zucchini has finally started to get into a price range that I'm comfortable with. Personally, I don't want to pay $2 per zucchini, and right now they're probably closer to about 75, 80 cents. Sometimes you can even find them cheaper, and as we get closer to summertime, even cheaper. So definitely save this recipe for then, even if you don't do it this week. Now, funeral potatoes, I don't know if this is just kind of like a Southern thing, but this is very similar to like the Cracker Barrel hash browns. But the main difference is instead of using those shredded like frozen potatoes, we're going to use the frozen potatoes that are like in chunks. Okay. I've always called them like home fries, but on the actual package, it does say hash browns. So it's this is another one you can kind of switch it up and mix it around, and that's totally fine. Now let's look at the rest of the dinners. Okay, our next dinner is bacon cheddar chicken. And this is really a baked chicken that we make in the oven. We're going to top it with some barbecue sauce, some chopped bacon, and some cheese. And this is one of those, again, that depending on the barbecue sauce that you use, depending on the cheese that you use, there's so many different options here. And this is also one of those dishes that is really good for leftover grilled chicken. So if you grilled chicken, you have some grilled chicken left over, you can easily do this and it'll cut your baking time in half. I love this one. A lot of people refer to it as like a Monterey chicken if you use like a pepper jack cheese. But honestly, I just start looking around my fridge and I'll maybe see some leftover tomatoes, throw that in. Really, anything goes here. For our last one, we are going to do a sloppy Joe pizza. Now, when I think of sloppy joes, I think of sandwiches, and I'm not a huge fan because they're sloppy. And it's the same reason I don't really like hard shell tacos because I can't eat them without making a mess. I love the flavor, not the mess. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those pizza crust mix. Of course, you can always make this at home, and most of the time I do make my own pizza crust, and I've got a recipe for that. You can check out the website for that. But we're going to let this sit for like 20, 30 minutes after we stir it up so it can proof and double in size. If it's really cold where you are, it may take longer. If it's 70, 80 degrees, it may only take 20 minutes for it to double. Now, here's where we're going to go a little different. Instead of spreading it out like a regular size pizza, we're going to use a casserole dish, like a 9 by 13 pan. We're going to do this more deep dish style, simply for the fact that sloppy joes are sloppy. So we're going to take ground turkey and our sloppy joe sauce, cook that up. I cook it just a little bit longer so the sauce kind of really thickens up. And once again, here you can add onions, you can add extra vegetables, you could do like shredded carrots in here to just add a little bit more. And then we're going to, instead of having like a sauce and then the meat, we're going to do the combination of the sloppy joe sauce and the ground turkey. We're going to spread that out over our deep dish crust pizza. That's hard to say. And then we're going to top it with mozzarella cheese. And then I like to serve this with a little bit of lettuce and tomato and some salad dressing, a little side salad. And then here's where you could also get fancy. I've heard that people like to top their sloppy joes with chopped onions or chopped pickles. You could totally do that on a pizza as well. If you've never had pickles on a pizza, oh my God, they're actually really good. I am a huge fan of adding fruit to my dinners. Now, I don't include those in the menu simply for the fact that whatever fruit that I choose, someone will hate that fruit. It just happens every time. So I've started including these low cost fruit options. These are all fruits that are on rollback or on sale at Walmart right now this week. Now, of course, bananas and plantains, still citrus. We're like right at the start of citrus season, but we're also in the start of apples. I'm starting to notice those go on sale more. And I'm also noticing that grapes of every color are starting to go on sale. Now, I will say that Walmart is not always the cheapest when it comes to fruit. So check your other local stores because a lot of times their loss leaders or their big sale items to draw you in are produce related. So you could possibly pick up fruit at another store and get it much cheaper. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. I really appreciate your support and for you coming and hanging out with me today. And I just want to remind you, because I just released this, I have created a free meal planning workbook. This is really for beginners that are trying to get everything set up and ready to go. And this workbook will help you kind of go through the different hurdles that usually make people quit. And I am a big fan of prepping or preparing for when the bad stuff or the hurdles come, so then you're prepared. So this is really what that workbook is about. And it's also going to show you how to find like your ideal grocery budget or how to set your grocery budget to save some money. So I'm going to leave a link below. You just click on it, you put in your email address, and then it's going to send you an email. You're going to confirm it, and then poof, there's your workbook. And gosh, this thing is huge. It's got like almost 50 pages. So please let me know down below which of these meals that you would like to try, or maybe some substitutions or switches you would do. And if you are wanting to see more and more weekly meal plans or meal planning tips, definitely follow along, subscribe, because that's what we're all about. And we'll definitely get you more tips and tricks.